believe it if I told you that somebody was arrested in one of the public parks in Calgary for praying?
No. I wouldn't. No, not at all. Did that happen?
Yeah.
For praying?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
That was at one of the parks in Calgary.
I would be interested in what they were praying to that it offended everybody to get them arrested.
Yeah, I would believe it, unfortunately.
Yes, I would.
Should peaceful religious gatherings be allowed in public places, or is it better to limit to private property?
Oh, yeah, sure. You should be able to, like, freedom of worship is one of the tenets of our society, so sure, they should be allowed to worship wherever they want.
You can do whatever you want, wherever you want, I find. You want to pray outside, you can pray outside. No problem with that. I don't see any problem with that at all.
I think it should be allowed in public places, as long as they're not imposing on something else that's going on.
I think it would be best in a private location just to avoid any future incidents like this.
Keep your prayers in private, would you? All right. That's very interesting. I mean, there is a bit of a mindset out there that religion needs to be shut up in your house. If you want to do something immoral, go ahead. You know, public parks, don't worry about it. Kids walking by, big deal. They'll get over it, you know. Yeah, all right, let's take some phone calls here. If you're just joining us, the website is www.streetchurch.ca. And apparently you have meetings on Sunday afternoons if people are curious. 2 o'clock, right?
We
that
have
is,
3 times.
where is it again? It's across from the Calgary Drop-In Center?
Yes, in the park.
Okay.
4 times a week.
4 times a week?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And
In the park.
now Sundays at 2 and when else?
Mondays at 7.
Yeah.
And Wednesdays we would take a group of homeless people to the discipleship program we have. And then Fridays again at 7.
Okay.
And then Sundays at 2.
Winter time too?
Doesn't matter of the
Doesn't
weather.
matter. You're there.
Soldiers of Christ.
All right.
Committed
okay.
for him.
Excellent. All right. Let's take a call from Alberta. Jay's on the line. Hi, Jay.
Hi.
Hi, Jay. What do you think?
Well, hi. I'm an immigrant from South Asia, and one of the things that really moved me to come to Canada is that the key of success in a Canadian society is tolerance.
Yeah, it's a free country, right?
Listening to this kind of situation, and even in a secular country that I come from, we are allowed to pray, even the majority of the country is not a Christian. I was just trying to understand that in a place like Commonwealth of Canada, if a person is not allowed to pray in public, where are we heading in next 20 years? Are we a kind of really a democratic, or are we, a secular, or are we a Commonwealth, or where are we heading from here?
That's a very good question, Jay. Does lead one to ask those questions. What happens down the road, right? How far do we go with this? I mean, and it's not uncommon. By the way, we'll have another story to tell you in a moment here about, on the other end of the country, very similar things happening there. So technically it's free, of course, to do whatever we want here, Jay, but in practice, it seems Christianity in particular is targeted. Jay, I mean, I don't know if you're a Christian or not, but what's your sense on that?
Right. Because, back where we come from Asia, we think that in North America, majority of the people are Christians and the church is very powerful. Most of the majority of people who live in North America, both in Canada and U.S., are Christian, which is a very different picture here. But given the fact, the situation, what happened here in the city of Calgary, I'm just trying to convince my people, because they have came to know, what happened here, is where exactly we are heading to. Are we heading like an open country where everybody will have a freedom to speak, freedom to practice their own religion, or is it just because people are kind of bowing down because it's a street church? It's just because we are looking from top-down process, thinking we are just not a part of the society.
I'm with you, Jay. In order to be free, you have to protect all freedoms in the sense, and we can't just protect Christian freedoms or just secular freedoms. And recently, again, I don't think that the secular freedoms in particular are under attack. It seems to be the religious freedoms, in particular, those of Jews and Christians, it seems, more than anybody else. But if it's not an even playing field, we've got some problems, because it'll just spread from there, to take over other, spread to other religions or thoughts. The thought police will be out there, right? And it sounds odd. I mean, could it happen here in Canada? I mean, we're a democracy, but it happened in other places, and they were pretty normal people. I think Germans were pretty normal people, and look what happened to their country years ago, or in Poland.
That's right.
It can happen, right?
That's right.
So how do we protect ourselves from that?
Well, everyone has its freedoms, And Charter of Rights, and actually I brought it with me. It's Constitution of this country is so clear, and those freedoms should be protected for every citizen. Doesn't matter of his religious backgrounds or his beliefs, as well as Muslims. They should be protected, and Christians as well. But why? How come that the country that says whereas Canada is founded upon the principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law, it seems targeting the name of Jesus and Christianity and leaving the other religions alone? That makes me curious.
But part of it, I think, is you know what, is people like yourself doing exactly what you're doing and paying the price, and appreciate the fact that you brought a camera with you, and you're doing that wherever you go now. I think that's great. So part of the battle is in the media, letting people know that this is okay. You know what I mean? And we have to be careful, of course, as Christians, that we're, when we do these things and it gets media coverage, that, it's done peacefully and appropriately, right? So that's part of the battle, but I think that's good. We need to do that. And maybe people, I don't know, would it be helpful if people in Calgary, for example, were to phone the police or to phone their MLA or their MP or their city councillor and respectfully, but say, listen, here's what happened and I'm concerned about this.
Yes.
What are you going to do about it? I think that goes a ways, right?
Yes.
And of course, has to be undergirded by prayer. So, Jay, thanks for that. All right, have some lines open, 1-888-816-2545. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Does this bother you? Could it happen in your neck of the woods? Maybe this happens more often than we realize, and I'd like to hear your stories. Okay? We're going to talk briefly with... you know what? I'll tell you what. We're going to get to our next phone call in a moment here from Ontario. And I'm sorry, who is it on the line there? We've got Irene. Irene, just hold on. We'll get to you next. I do want to tell you about what's happening on the other end of town, if you will, across the country. Susie's on the line with us. Susie Ryan. She is the wife of Peter Ryan. He's the president of the Campaign of Life Coalition of New Brunswick. And she was just this last week, I think it was on Tuesday, correct me if I'm wrong, Susie, arrested for holding up a sign outside the offices of this pro-life organization, which happens to be right next door to an abortion clinic. You are the mother of 9 children. I don't think you're probably an intimidating-looking person. I don't have a picture of you to put up on the screen, Susie, but you were arrested, I understand, by 8 police officers. Is that right?
Yeah, six or 8. I wasn't there. I guess I was too shocked to count.
About a half dozen police officers show up and arrest this dangerous individual holding up a sign. I guess you must have been yelling obscenities or something like that. Is that the deal, or?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't saying a word.
You were standing quietly. Now you must have been on their property then, right? Trespassing.
Oh no, I wasn't. I was on the
well, hold on a
sidewalk.
You were on the public sidewalk and holding up a sign.
A grassy patch.
Okay.
Off the public sidewalk.
Right. So the sign probably said "Kill abortionists."
No, it didn't.
It didn't. Okay. What did it say?
They just showed a picture of a child, a dead child.
Yes, an aborted fetus, basically.
An aborted
right?
baby.
Okay. And so you probably had, and it was probably graphic, a lot of these pictures, and of course these are about like 5 feet by 5 feet square. They're big pictures. It's a poster.
Yes.
So people driving by can actually see what happens in an abortion. And so there's some blood and there's some dismembered limbs.
Yes.
And now you were probably surprised when they arrested you, I imagine.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked beyond word.
And what did they charge you with?
Well, they charged me under the section of the criminal code that says corrupting morals.
Corrupting morals. Wow. Now there's irony. There's irony. Okay.
Yeah, and I was charged with holding an obscene sign.
An obscene sign. Well, obscene. When we think of obscene, I guess, I should have maybe brought the dictionary definition along. It usually deals with sexual content. In this case, that's really. That's what you're actually going to go to court for? You have to appear in court at some point, right, on charges of obscenity?
Oh, yes, I've been charged under the criminal code, so that's
it. When do you know when the court appearance is, or?
Yes, it's in November 17th.
November 17th.
Yeah, and this is just when you enter
a plea. Okay, you're just going to enter a plea on November 17th.
And then there's a trial.
Okay. Man, you know what? This is amazing because I think to myself, how we can possibly define a picture like that obscene. I know it's probably a disturbing picture to many people, but if by definition, by Canadian law, that is not a human being, it's one thing to hold up a picture of a dead human being, or at least, that human being was a human being. Now it's a dead human being, and there's some blood and guts, I guess, you know.
Right.
But this is just a blob of cells, right, as we refer to them. So how could it possibly be obscene?